What's up guys, my name is Timbo and once again we're back talking Destiny 2 using the same gameplay footage over and over again. And I gotta say guys, I'm trying, but it's getting really tough finding new clips of footage that I haven't used before, especially when the campaign gameplay I have is my friend playing.
Burning out. Anyone heard from Akora? Not since you went for the speakers.
My friend who's never played Destiny before. And guys, I know that I said this video would be out sooner, but over the past however many days, I wasn't feeling too well, which sure wouldn't prohibit me from editing and stuff, but it made it impossible to commentate. So here we are now, hopefully no harm, no foul. Trust me, I would have liked to upload this sooner. As I get larger on YouTube, I'm slowly finding out that it's tough remaining relevant in the algorithm unless you upload like 7 times a day. So we're at my channel in a few weeks when I go off to college. But that's extraneous right now. Today is another Destiny theory. It's not an episode of The Mystery Behind, but those of you who enjoy those videos should feel right at home here. You've seen the title, so you know what this video is about. This theory believes that good old Dinklebot is evil.
No, little light.
Now, I'm not going to take credit for this. I am not the one who introduced this idea. I am merely a conduit forwarding it out there to all of you. Going into this theory, it is apparent that I include the context behind this, otherwise I'm going to lose many of you undoubtedly in the process. This theory isn't a pre-existing video, it's not a thread on Reddit or the Bungie forums, it just so happens to derive from a comment of one of my own videos. I didn't take this too seriously when I read it, I still don't, but I thought it was interesting enough to share with you all nevertheless. The comment comes from a user, hopefully handsome subscriber, Edwin Keating. The placement of this comment is on my video, Why Do Guardians Never Speak, in which I discuss why Guardians don't talk. Pretty surprising? I know. To summarize it, in vanilla Destiny, your character would talk in the campaign's cutscenes, which apparently a lot of people thought I wasn't aware of for some reason. And looking forward into Destiny 2, it looks like that would be changing. At the time of making that video, I was unsure if this was confirmed or merely a rumor, but since uploading, the silent protagonist shift has been affirmed. Why is this important? Because it's this topic that clearly inspired Edwin to make this theory. Whether he was being serious or sarcastic, I cannot tell. Either way, I find his interpretation of Destiny 2's silent protagonist approach to be original and creative, and that sort of thing is exactly what I advocate on this channel. Personally, after looking at everything, I find it extremely unlikely that this is true within the capacity that it is being explained here, but it is still a cool theory that can get you thinking. So you might find this mind-blowing, you might find this to be completely vapid, or if you're someone like me, you might just find it hilarious. Make sure to take everything I'm going to say with a grain of salt, suspend your disbelief if you must, and join me as we get into this theory. Essentially, this theory is a clever way to explain why Guardians don't speak in Destiny 2. It's presented in a way that makes it sound as if Guardians have lost their voice, which, when you think about it, chronologically they have. Your Guardian used to have a voice and used to interact with other characters. Granted, they weren't compelling interactions, but at least they were there. And one day with the Taken King's release, this abruptly stopped, in turn making your ghost more prominently represent your thoughts. There are a lot of practical reasons why this change was made other than Bungie is lazy. One important concept that is glossed over is the removal of Peter Dinklage as the voice of the ghost. Consequently, the addition of Nolan North could have inclined the studio to give him more lines, making the ghost the communicator of the player's thoughts, rather than just having the two interact as separate characters. This change in voice actors could have made Bungie adjust the overall design for how their story is told through dialogue. And whether you believe the substitution of North for Dinklage was the reasoning behind a silent protagonist moving forward, it is indisputable that the ghost has been made more of a central character, and thus feeds into this theory. So while that may be a real-world possibility explaining the change, Edwin has come up with a lore, in-game deduction, and like I said, it's pretty amusing. His theory states that the ghosts are possessing their guardian, slowly taking their free will. This is done through respawning, as every time you do so, the ghost becomes a little bit stronger. He also mentions how you never hear the ghosts of Cade, Zavala, Ikora, and Shaxx speak, despite them always being there next to them. And when you think of it, whether you find this theory to be good or bad, that is something rather odd. I think that seeing Cade, for example, interacting with his ghost could add to more of his already great personality. The silence of their ghosts is explained by, quote, "What their ghosts say comes out of their mouths." My understanding is that when you're fully possessed, the ghost is speaking through you. As you die and respawn repeatedly, you gradually lose control, like a degenerative illness such as ALS or Alzheimer's, until you fully succumb, not being in control of your mind at all. It does mention how your memories get altered and the voice changes to make you more likable and less robotic, I suppose, but it does leave some to be desired in terms of how much of that original person is still inside. There are different ways to interpret this, so I'm going to go over them for you. The first states that the ghost is in total control of the guardian it was assigned to. Its movements, thoughts, and actions are all controlled by the ghost, completely taking over. A different possibility could be a rewiring of sorts, where the original guardian is still in control of their movements, just not their thoughts. Their brain has been rewired to be unaware of this, as it's the ghosts that is regulating what the guardian says. And lastly, the third, and definitely most chilling out of the three I've come up with, is the opposite of the last one, where, like a puppet, the guardian's subconscious is still in their body somewhere, but being locked away, as they are no longer in control of their body. The ghost has taken over, using the guardian simply for their body, a host to a demon, or a ghost, strangely. Now, do I believe this is true? No. While there are multiple facts backing it up, I don't see it actually being a thing, and there's a number of reasons why. For one, puppets, as I've already talked about in other videos, already exist, so I feel as if this is the same exact thing, only it makes less sense because it applies to more than just exos. Not to mention, ghosts were created by the Traveler, and thus get their power from it. When looking at the Destiny 2 Homecoming story mission, your ghost shuts down when Gull takes the light, and yet in trailers we've seen after these events, the likes of Cade, Zavala, and Ikora are still talking, acting completely normal without their ghost. If they were being possessed, I think they would have realized it once their ghost died. However, even with this being said, this doesn't mean that Bungie couldn't do something akin to this. Like I've said before, I'd love it if Bungie went down the route of, the light isn't as great as we thought. That would not only allow us to suck power from other places, leading to new subclasses, but it also creates a gray area between good and evil in this game. So maybe it isn't the ghosts specifically that is up to something mischievous, but that doesn't mean someone else isn't. Yesterday with the Destiny 2 launch trailer, I think Bungie ruled out the speaker, which makes this theory even more unlikely in my opinion. As much as I'd like to see a plot twist like these, I still find it to be improbable when looking at Destiny's past. They like to keep things very succinct. But who knows, maybe Bungie will throw us for a loop at one point in Destiny 2's story. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, I'm dubious when it comes to an evil ghost, especially considering the confirmation of our character's silence. For this to work, for us to take back control, for our voice to be Nolan North's, Bungie would have to be lying to us here. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways Bungie could take a plot detail like this, so with that being said, it is possible, just unlikely. But that's all I've got to say about it, guys. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think of this theory? Is it just a clever way to explain why our guardians don't talk anymore? Or could this have some deeper meaning? It undoubtedly would make me think of the opening scene of Destiny 1 differently, knowing that the ghost is actually looking for a host body to possess. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a positive rating. It is much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.